Free software in ethics and in practice. Recording length 06 minutes and 29 seconds. This recording was created using www.spokentext.net. Our society encourages people to judge programs in a shallow way, based only on practical convenience. How powerful is it? How reliable is it? What does it cost? And to ignore the most important questions. What does this program do to my freedom? What does this program do to the social solidarity of my community? These questions are what the free software movement is all about. Free software means software that respects the user's freedom. Software which is not free is proprietary software, user-subjugating software. It keeps the users divided and helpless. Divided because everyone is forbidden to share it with anyone else. And helpless because the users don't have the source code, so they can't change it. They can't even check independently what it's doing to them. But it's not enough just to say that we're in favor of freedom, because that's not specific enough. Everybody says they're in favor of freedom. Even Bush says he's in favor of freedom, and Bush doesn't recognize freedom even after he's crushed it. So we really have to say something more specific. Which freedom is it that we're defending? A program is free software if it gives the user 4 essential freedoms. Freedom 0 is the freedom to run the program as you wish. Freedom 1 is the freedom to study the source code and change it, so the program does what you wish. Freedom 2 is the freedom to help your neighbor. That's the freedom to distribute copies to others when you wish. And freedom 3 is the freedom to contribute to your community. That's the freedom to make and distribute copies of your modified versions when you wish. If you have all 4 freedoms, then the program is free software. Because the social system of the program's distribution and use is an ethical system, respecting the user's freedom and respecting social solidarity. But if one of these freedoms is missing or insufficient, then the program is proprietary software, non-free software, user-subjugating software, because the social system of its distribution and use is unethical. To release a non-free program is not a contribution to society, it's an attack. It's an attempt to subjugate people, and we should hope it fails, and even better, it shouldn't be done at all. So if a developer has a choice between developing a proprietary program and developing no program, it's better to develop no program. At least then he's not hurting society. And thus, the goal of the free software movement is that all software be free, so that all users are also free. But why are these 4 freedoms essential? Why define free software this way? Each freedom has its reason. But in the interest of time, let's focus for now on freedom 2, the freedom to help your neighbor. The freedom to make and distribute exact copies of the program is essential on basic moral grounds, so you can live an upright life as a good member of your community. If you use a program without freedom 2, then you are in danger of falling into a moral dilemma at any moment. Whenever your friend says, "That program is nice, could I have a copy?" At that moment, you will face a choice between 2 evils. One evil is to give your friend a copy, and violate the license of the program. The other evil is to deny your friend a copy, and comply with the license of the program. Being in the dilemma, you ought to choose the lesser evil, which is to give your friend a copy, and violate the license of the program. What makes this the lesser evil? If you can't help doing wrong to somebody or other, better to do it to somebody who has acted in a way that deserves it. Now, we can suppose that your friend is a good friend, a good member of your community, and normally deserves your cooperation. It's not the only possibility, but it is a possibility, and it's the one that raises the dilemma in its clearest form. By contrast, the developer of this proprietary program has deliberately attacked the social solidarity of your community. So if you have to do wrong to one or the other, do it to the developer. However, being the lesser evil does not make it good. It's never a good thing to make an agreement and then break it. Now, some kinds of agreements are inherently evil, and keeping them is even worse than breaking them. This is an example, but still, breaking them is not good. And if you give your friend a copy, what will he have? He will have an unauthorized copy of a proprietary program. And that's something pretty bad, almost as bad as an authorized copy. So, once you have fully thought this through, what you should really do is make sure that you're never in this dilemma. There are two ways to do that. One is, don't have any friends. That's the method implicitly suggested by the developers of proprietary software. The other method is, reject proprietary software. That's my method. If somebody offers me a program on the condition that I promise not to share it with you, no matter how convenient or attractive it might be, I will reject it because my conscience requires me to reject it, because to accept it would be betrayal of my community, and I will not do that. We should reject the software that forbids us to cooperate in our communities, and we should also reject the propaganda terms that they use to demonize cooperation. Terms like piracy. What are they saying when they call sharing piracy? They are trying to equate helping your neighbor with attacking a ship, and nothing could be ethically more wrong than that, because attacking a ship is very bad, but helping your neighbor is the right thing to do. So, if our adversaries try to ask you about piracy, don't fall into their trap. When people ask me what I think of software piracy, I say, I don't think pirates use software, they use guns. I'm on my toes about this. I've trained myself not to fall into the trap of repeating and legitimizing the propaganda that tries to call sharing wrong. So that's the reason for freedom 2, the freedom to help your neighbor. Perhaps we'll get into the other 3 essential freedoms at another time, but freedom 2 is the one that presents the dilemma that most users will be familiar with, and that is most relevant to their daily computing. This recording was created using Spoken Text, the free online text-to-speech converter. To learn more about Spoken